Hey, welcome to another episode of Electrical Theology. I am your host, Charles, and we get into the Esoteric Life Coaching, which helps you take responsibility for your thoughts, actions, and emotions. And we do this by understanding the framework of the universe. So, if you're okay with it, we'll get started. So, in this video, we're going to talk about mapping, navigating, and negotiating your life using the secret grid we've been talking about in the last few videos, I think the last 4. And each one's laying a foundation, a dimensional foundation, and with each foundation we get stronger and stronger and stronger. So we build a physical, mechanical structure, esoteric structure. We're building a physical and mechanical structure, and once that's built, then we can start building in the mental or chemical foundations, which then once that's pretty strong and cured, then we can go into the spiritual electrical foundation, and this sets us up pretty good with being able to now harness in the divine information or the divine formation or the divine ions into you. And this way your cells going through your body, or the energy coming through your body into the cells, will then create or go through that black hole we talk about, that then takes this old energy, these old thoughts, demagnetize them and sends them through the black hole, and then it's fresh ions coming out. So it's with these ions that now we can take in and order what to do, and then have them come down through our nice foundation now. Is that making sense? Awesome. So yeah, just a little recap real fast. We talked about the dimensional grids here, and we're talking with the sevens right now, 7 by 7. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go back to about 2 videos ago, and we talk about these dimensions here. And again, these are just the basic building blocks of atomic structures or divine ions, whatever you want to call them. But when we think of a thought, this is where the thought comes from. The thought comes from the no thing, the 0. And then it turns into ones, and then it duplicates if we keep thinking, and triunals or trinities or triumphs, any of the trinities that we can focus on, and so on and so forth. We'll get into the numbers at some other time. And then we talked about the different realms of expanding consciousness. This was the stages that we went over. And so 3 stages, stage, and then we are able then, once we get that foundation, we build and go up into the mental stage. So 3 stages equal a realm. Just keep that sort of in focus. Again, none of this is hard, fast rules. This is just what I am able to see, intuit, bring down, download into me, and then the best I can to put it in some sort of graphic or illustration. Again, illustrate those ions. I'm able then to, this is just my version of it. I'm sure if I took a really long time, I can make some really great videos, but right now I just want to lay the foundations. We don't need to get complicated with our videos. As we go on, we can get more complicated or more studio perfection with the proper light, proper all this good stuff. But that's not my point right now. My point is just to get this information out. All right. So we talked about this in the last 2 videos. So if you don't know that, go look at those videos, and then I'll describe that. But it is talking about the realms, and then once we have this understanding of these realms and how thoughts come in and how they form according to your thoughts, actions, and emotions, then we're ready to now start bringing in or understanding how to bring in, again, mapping, navigating, negotiating this energy and telling it what to do. So a quick recap, inception, when energy comes in, again, when that goes into this, into Shambhala, into hierarchy, into God, and then the 7 consciousnesses, this is a representation of the 7 consciousnesses, if you will. Conscious I, conscious I don't know what it is, consciousnesses. And then, so each one starts with an inception, basically. And this inception turns into inspiration, and then reception or nurturing, action, tradition, decision, or deciding what ions are best, and then perceive those ions how we choose to according to our version of this life. And if we don't, if we're sort of going into reverse or adverse against the verse, the one verse, then we're going to hit limitations, desperations, maturation, instigation, hesitation, frustration, and motion. And again, these are neither good nor bad. They're just energies to identify, for you to identify which direction are you flowing. Are you going with the flow, or are you going against it? There's nothing against going against the flow, because it strengthens you. But there comes a point where you'll run out of strength, and then you just have to release and allow that flow. Right? Nothing to let go of. We just need to allow the flow. We need to give it permission because it's per our mission to allow this flow. If you restrict it, that's on you. If you limit it, that's on you. It's not on anyone else. So when you allow the flow, the unfolding moment, the undefended heart, all to come together, now we got some progress. Now we got order. All right? So that was a recap, just a quick recap on that. We'll talk about this a little bit more, or we'll refer back to it here and there. But just to sort of get familiar with it again, with these words, because we're really going to sort of create sentences now. We're going to map out a sentence. All right? So in the next mental realm, chemical realm, we have duration, reflection, new decisions, direction, individuation, incarnation, and balance. And then on the opposite side, if you will, the depletion, confusion, reflection, deflection, initiation, resurrection, and position. And then the spiritual electrical realms, we have the passion, the fascination, the reconnection. We have investigation, elation, observation, action, and a whole bunch more. But then sort of the adverse is temptation, destruction, relations, creation, expression, evaluation, and passion, and occupation, all that good stuff. All right? And keep in mind, this is 1 through 7. So let's move on to the next screen. I'll try to make this quick, but it may take a little explanation. So this is how to create your own verse, your own metaverse, your own universe, your own multiverse, whatever you want to call this verse. The verse is just serve, and it's the anagram for the word serve. So it's just going to show you how you best serve the ions that you're opening up to and bringing through because you took responsibility for those thoughts, actions, and emotions. All right? So same thing, mental mechanical stage or realms, however you want to look at these. It doesn't matter right now at the point if it's stage or realms, but we'll stick with the one realm and then just the physical, mental, spiritual, or the mechanical, chemical, electrical to build this physical realm foundation. All right? So hopefully this is all right with you guys. If it's too complicated, leave me some messages. I'll try to simplify it, but if it's too easy, let me know and I can move forward with deeper, quicker descriptions. So again, now we're going to, instead of labeling them 1 through 7, we're going to continue that with 8 through 14 and 15 through 21. Still 7s, right? And what we see here is the same grid. This is how energy is coming into us. We talked about the teacup yesterday being empty, and when you pour the divine elixir or liquid or life force, whatever you want to call this, chi, prana, I don't care, is that when you pour it, it doesn't stop at the top of the cup. It goes to the very bottom of the cup, which is our physical realm, and then it starts filling up. And that's exactly how we're going to bring energy into ourselves, is to fill it up at the beginning, at the root, and bring it through all the proper systems or appropriate systems, and we'll talk about those more. So let's start here with 1. You're going to see a bunch of arrows here. And let me see, I had all this put out to where these arrows would come out one at a time, but apparently they're not. So anyway, hopefully it's not too confusing on this board, but we'll take a look at it anyway. So 1 through 7, 8 through 14, 15 through 21. 7, 7, 7. So 7 physical, 7 mental, 7 spiritual. So we'll call it the normally flowing motion. We'll just put from 1 through 7. Because again, this is one big cup, but then this is each individual teacup, if you will, that's empty. So we're going to fill it up. So we're pulling in the divine information. And divine is, again, die and vine. Vine is, we heard it through the grapevine, so it's a form of communication. And so die is 2, so it's 2 ways of communicating or 2-way communication. So us, and our external self and our internal self. Your natural self, your supernatural self, your external to your internal God. However whatever labels y'all want to put on, it's irrelevant at this point for me. It's about energy. And so this energy is going to flow this way naturally. Now going the opposite way, we can call that going into the past. But again, past, future, it's all relative. It's all happening at one time. We just don't have a big enough picture. And let me sort of segue for a moment, because I've used this example before, and it's a good example, is that when I want to go to the Thanksgiving Day Parade, I'm there to see Santa Claus. And so if I get there late, I'm on the ground, and it's crowded, kids are up on shoulders, I can barely see. I'm a tall guy, but hey, there's a lot of view, so I can only barely see one event happen at a time. And I'm like, okay, this is enough. I want to see more. I want to see when Santa's coming. I'm impatient, if you will. So then I take off and I go to the highest, or to the nearest highest building. I take the elevator to the very top, and now I can look down, and now I see an entire block of that parade all at one time. Now, if I was on the ground and seeing one at a time, and that one passed me, then I say, oh, that's in the past, right? And then the future is about to come. Right? That's a linear way of thinking. But if we go to and that's the myopic thinking or perception. So if I go into the building, that's a synoptic perception. I can see a little bit more. I still can't see the whole parade from start to finish, but I can see an entire block. And all of it's happening at one time. They're all moving in their synchronistic parts, right? And I'm able to observe it all at one time. But I still don't see Santa. So then there's a helicopter on top of that building. I hire the guy to fly me. I fly planes, but not helicopters. So I hire the guy to hop in the helicopter, and they take me all the way as high as they can until I see the start of the parade to the end parade. Now I see Santa. Now I can predict on the pace at which everything's happening exactly to almost a minute when Santa will come. Now that's prophesying, predicting, prognosticating, all these words about seeing the future. It's not. It's just having a bigger perspective. And the bigger perspective happens in the electrical realm, into God realm, into hierarchy realm, and so forth. So the higher I go, and the higher just means higher electricity. It doesn't mean physically higher or my mind goes higher. Even though you can astral travel, then I can see things from abroad. I can see things from outside the world and look down, and everything happening on the world is happening all at the same time. They're not in different time zones, right? All the weather's on the earth happening all at the same time. So there is no past, present, or future. It's just all happening. Is that making sense? Hopefully it is. Let me know if it does or doesn't. So anyway, I see that whole picture, and that's the panoptic perspective. So now I can tell how far something went. So if someone says, oh, can you give me a past life reading? Absolutely. All I have to do is open my expansion, and then I can see where they were in 5 iterations ago, or 5 reincarnations, as you'll hear. Iteration's the proper word for me, but incarnation is another one. But you can see back, but all I have to do is follow their electrical stream. Does that make sense? And if I want to know what's about to happen in the future, all I have to do is just broaden my perspective. And when I broaden my perspective, I can see when Santa's coming. I can say, Santa will be here in 10 minutes, I bet you $100. Now again, that's not foreseeing a balloon popping, a car stalling, someone getting hurt, cops arresting someone, a flat tire, right? These are the things that we don't know. But what we can do with our best is say, hey, it's going to happen around this time. Okay? And let's move on. So, but if in this we're moving in this reverse or adverse, then we're going what we would call the past, but it's not really the past. You're just going against the flow instead of with the flow. Same thing for all the other realms. We'll call it forward motion, backward motion, backward motion, but those are just words for now. Now we have these vertical lines going up. Again, horizontal is 0 or God, and then up and down vertical is when God opens. All right? Keep that in mind in the back of your head. Don't try to make sense of it just yet. Just have it floating around there. So when you see this going up, I can jump from this realm to the mental realm because it's just 1 plus 7 equals 8, 8 plus 7 equals 15. So this is going to be important when you're trying to create a verse or when something is happening in your life and you can't see, quote unquote, the future. You can stop and understand ionically or energetically what's about to come. And we showed you the big grid, that wave that's coming in, the big grid. We know that that's about to happen. This is, right? I'm able to see this all. This is Earth, this is the universe all happening at the same time. If y'all can see my little cursor. But if your consciousness is only focused in 1 dimension or 2 or 3 dimensions, then you can only see myopically or synoptically. But if you step back, open up, release, take responsibility for your thoughts, actions, and emotions, and you can release that, and you can see with your psychic eyes your intuitive eyes, your actual eyes, right? So we can actualize the sentence that we're talking about by having actual eyes, right? So this is we can just jump up real quick, and what we're going to jump up to or go backward or forward or down is with this. So for an example, if I'm having limitations in my life, then how is that teacup, how's that energy being poured into my teacup or in this vessel, this 8-suit? Well, it's coming in depleted. I'm telling the universe, please bring me depleted ions or energy. And it gives you limitation because you're not asking for more quote unquote time. You're not asking for more strength. You're just sitting there going, oh, beg, 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 poor pity me, bring me what I don't think I have. But we all have access to everything. You have access to the World Wide Web. Everyone does, right? And they can go in a coffee shop. They can go to a library. They can borrow off a friend. Everyone has access to it. Or they have the possibility to use it is out there in the world. Everyone can play the piano, right? Some takes quicker. Some pick it up naturally. Some take longer. But we all have the ability to play and poke the piano keys, guys. Right? I don't care if you don't have hands. You got toes. You got a nose. You got something. You got a stick. You can poke those keys. All right. So yes, it is a struggle for a lot of people, and then it's very easy for some. Right? We're not going to make sense of that right now because we don't have a panoptic perspective. The amount of time and duration you spend in, we'll call it the shadow, the rough stuff in your life that you perceive to be negative, when you're ready to switch over and take responsibility for those thoughts, however long you spent in the light and how much energy you spent there, when you're ready to take in the light, then you'll get equal time in the light. Right? So if you've gone in the deep, dark recesses of your mind, when you're ready to come out of that, you'll go into the broader perspectives of light. And light is energy, light is God, light is hierarchy, energy or ions. And it's that. Is that making sense, guys? All right, well, let's get on with this. So for an example, I can say, okay, so I'm limited, so they're coming in depleted. That's because I'm tempted. What am I being tempted to? The old ways of life, the old thoughts. I keep jumping on recycling my thoughts. I get hooked up on an old past love or an old job that fired me, or I watch the news. I want to blame every person, place, and people about how my life's crappy, right? So you have temptations to listen to other than your own voice. And again, when you bring in other people's voices and believe their voices, because the belief is in the past, they're just regurgitating what already was, which there is no past, it's just information. I know this is getting confusing, but hang with me, all right? So in their mind, they are in the past, but there is no past. But in their head, they think they're in the past, but they're not. What they're thinking is in the present moment. Although their thoughts, they think are in the past, they're not. They're still in the present moment. When you think of something that happened 20 years ago, you're thinking about it now in the present moment, or the present moment, all right? So if we want to flip the script, start giving orders, then we got to start at the highest realm, right? And that's the highest realm, but we're just talking the 7 frequencies for now. We can go, and there's all this in the higher realms. We'll get to it at a later date, but right now, so I have to become on the physical realm. If you're here on Earth and you're telling the universe, okay, I'm sort of getting this, and I need to put an order out, then I have to start something new. I got to bring in new ions. How do I bring in new ions? By having the capacity, the stamina to stay with right thoughts that are yours and not the past, what you call past or future thoughts. You stay in the unfolding moment, unfold the emotions you're having about something or someone because they're yours. They're not about them, it's about you. All right? And so we have to have this strength, this duration and discipline. Right? We got to gain the inception, which is gaining new knowledge. We have to then have the knowledge or gain the discipline. And discipline is disciple. Be your own disciple. No one else's. Follow yourself, not others. Again, I can't tell you what to do. I can only tell you what I do. And my way's not right or wrong. It works for me. Right? So then, if I start something, then I have to have the stamina to carry it forward, the discipline to carry it forward by gaining more knowledge. Once I gain that, I now have passion. Making sense? Now I can pass my ions on, which means I can throw out what I do want in life ionically and then electromagnetically people, places, and things in the cells within those bodies and trees and signs or whatever, radios, and that message will come to you because it is you. They're all reflections, reflecting ions of you. Is that making sense now? So let's move forward. Let's just jump in real quick. But if we can't, if that's too big of a jump for some, then let's take it step by step, and we'll go through 1 through 7. All right. So we got our limitations, and so we're getting desperate because we think we're cut off from the ions. We think that because these tragic events, these experiences are happening to you, a lot of people, again, we're upgrading to God 2.0, if you will, or consciousness 2.0, whatever this version. Humans are going through an evolution. We are evolving the ions, and we're integrating with a higher frequency of electricity. Look at your electronics. Right? We didn't have the abundance of electronics back in the 1700s. They were just beginning in modern day, beginning to be made. When we get this limitation, we're going to feel desperations in our life because the old ions, with or without your consciousness, electromagnetism, the universe flowing, is going to go through its waves, like I showed in the other screen here. Is that the universe has its own waves from the creation, which is us, but we're just not aware of us yet being that. So right now, that's sort of separate from us, but I and thou are together. I and you are one. So right now we think we're separate, and that's what makes us feel desperate, which makes us feel we're limited. All right, catching on? So let's say we want to keep going. Okay, well, I'm desperate, so I need some more mature. I need to mature. I need to nurture myself. So see, I now know what I need to do if I have limited thinking, and I'm getting desperate. I need to stop. Acknowledge that it's me thinking this thought, and immediately be open, be open to new energy, and nurture that energy. That's what's going to mature it. All right? See, the instructions, structure your ions, it's right there. The cosmic blueprint's right in front of you. So now that we have that nurturing and we have received, and we are taking the next step, which is action. Right? But if you're not, you're instigating things, right? Because you're getting angry, you're frustrated, but you're not dealing with your emotions, you're not nurturing yourself, so you're projecting those ions. Right? Everyone, you are the projector, just like in a movie thing. There's a projector. You're projecting your ions on others and seeing yourself on them. They're the screen. But you're projecting your energy, your light onto them, but it's not positive or negative light. It's just you're now seeing yourself in your true light through that other person. Making sense? Good. So, if you find yourself instigating arguments and because you don't know what to think, well, you know exactly what to do. You need to nurture yourself, right? You need to understand what inspires you, right? By creating something brand new. That means learning something new. And yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's hard sometimes because our brains are hardwired an old way. So we have to change those synapses that we talked about a few videos back, and then change the routine, change the message. So after, how do we take action? That action will then help us lead to find out what our old systems are, the traditions. So here's where we trade in those ions, and we talked about this yesterday at length a little bit. And so we got to trade in our old ways, because if you don't trade in the old ways, meaning think new thoughts and stay and continue with those thoughts, then you're going to run into hesitation. You're like, oh, I don't know. You're going to start not believing in yourself. You're going to not trust other people. This is all hesitation. Hesitation is excuse. It's an excuse. Instigation, it's an excuse because that energy's already gone through you, and you're trying to grab it. I'm going to give you a crude example, right? So when you go to the bathroom, number 2, right, you're not going to take number 2 and try to cram it back up to you, right? I don't need to try to make sense unless I'm a doctor diagnosing for something inside your system, but just for the crudeness of this example, then I'm not going to try to cram that back up me. It's going the opposite direction. It's not the natural course of things, all right? So when you're trying to go back and instigate and you're immature and you're getting more desperate, more limited, that's all in you because you're trying to use old thoughts because you opened up to something new, but you're trying to use old thoughts. And those, you need to trade those in, guys. Trade them in, right? That will take the hesitation, and then you're going to have to make a decision. Keep with the old ion and have the same results, or trade those in and make a new decision, right? And then that new decision is your choice. So we no longer want, need, desire, wish. These are all low frequencies. And that is in this realm where we're all wishing, praying, grabbing, begging, stealing for whatever it is that we think we don't have. But you have access to all this. You have access to your that. This is what these classes are about, is educating you on how to get your energy flowing directly, not through other people, places, and things. All right, so if you continue to hesitate, you're only going to get more frustrated. And then you're going to have you're going to have emotions all over the place, psychological emotions. You're going to go to a psychiatrist, they're going to want to give you pills. Doctors are going to want to operate because your organs aren't operating. You're going to go to the church and they're going to want more money, more tithe, because the more you show up, the more money they want. Again, none of these systems are bad or good, right? They're just other people's systems. I can utilize these systems, but I utilize it for my purpose. And once I educated myself, then if I feel I need these, I can integrate myself. Integration is integrating ions. There is no bad or good system on Earth. It's just your perception that's not mature yet. You haven't traded in the old ions for new ones. Cool? All right. So in order to change our perceptions, we need to make a decision, look at the old belief systems, trade them in for new ones, take new action, right? Be open to receive new information without ego. Open the heart and receive. The only way you're going to receive is by opening that heart. And then you're going to get inspired, and then you're going to have a brand new life and a brand new direction. Go back to these arrows. And I'm going to show you how you can go, once you understand this pattern, you can easily go back and forth and go, okay, what am I not getting? What's not making sense? Well, all I have to do is just go back one and go, oh, I'm not taking action. I'm being lazy, right? Why am I being lazy? For what reason? How's it serving me, right? So we can go back and go, okay, well, what exactly about being lazy is useful, right? Because maybe it gets you some attention from people. Maybe it gets people paying you attention by yelling at you because maybe you were the fourth kid of the fourth kid and never got attention. I don't know. Whatever your reason is, right? So quickly, we'll go here. We'll go up. We'll play with this one here, the 3, 10, and 17. Again, 3 plus 7, 10 plus 7, we get 17. So let's say I want to receive, right? Again, this is the physical realm, right? I want to know how my ions are coming in. Right, because it goes electrical, chemical, mechanical. The electricity regulates the chemistry, and then the chemistry regulates the mechanics, your bones, your blood, your organs, right? The way your organs are organized right now is because your mind's organized a certain way, and then your electricity is organized because you're the one who told it to come in organized that way. So take responsibility for that. Love yourself for doing it. Don't beat up on yourself because you didn't bring it in the way you wanted to, or now you're acknowledging that, oh, crap, it's me that's been doing it. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Now you got the tool. Now you can do the opposite by putting into motion what you want in this life, which is normally the opposite. Right? So, how do I need to be more receptive? Well, make new decisions. Right? We got decisions over here, but this is new decisions. And we're going to do this through reflecting on our thoughts, because this is the thought realm, physical realm, spiritual realm. So here I'm like, okay, how do I nurture myself? Well, I need to reflect. See, the answer's right there. I need to reflect my ions mentally. So if I am blaming, faulting, victim, all that good stuff on other people, then I need to reflect and go and put the I statement in. Where am I doing this? Where is this me? Right? And be with that. Feel that. Don't run from it. Don't make sense of it. Don't try to put words to it. Just be with the energy. And then make the statement, I allow you to flow. And instantly that energy starts flowing because you're the one who stagnated it. And now that you can allow it to flow, you gave it per your mission permission for those ions to flow. Awesome? All right. So, and now I'm like, okay, I need more information about new decisions, right? What do I need to reflect on? Boom, reconnection. What do I need to reconnect to? My heart. Most of us are defending our heart with ego. We're projecting ourselves onto other people. And I told you to feel those feelings. Feel those feelings. That's that trying to come through. That's that in its purity. It doesn't need words. It only needs you to feel it. Right? I don't need to do anything with it. I just need to feel it. And once I feel it, I've reconnected automatically. I don't need to say I need to reconnect. It happens automatically. So spiritually, I need to start reconnecting. So that means on the spiritual realm, it means I need to be more meditative. I need to go to a church. Whatever this is for you that helps you. If it's going in nature, if it's getting away from everything. right? Whatever that is for you. And you can say, well, what is that, right? On the spiritual realm, what give me a direction. Great. Fascination. What fascinates you in this life? Take money out of the component altogether, and what fascinates you about this life? Start focusing on that, right? Deconstruct. Right now we went up and over. So we're looking at something in the past, but it's a spiritual, which is the future of the physical. Make sense? A little weird, I know. All right? So I can say, okay, what am I fascinated about? What do I need to deconstruct? Well, what am I passionate about? Right? I need to be fascinated about something, but I need to be passionate about it. Well, what tempts me? What do I really want in my life? Can I be tempted to quit my job and go do this, what I really love? Even though it may pay less, great, I can make some sacrifices or compromises, right? Compromises come promise. So make a promise to yourself. Be truthful with yourself that, hey, I'm not passionate about this. I need to make a move. Move them energies, emotion, move them. Then I can say, well, what will that get me? I'm not sure. What does the future hold, right? I went up in the helicopter now. So reconnection, when I'm going to reconnect, I need to investigate that. What I need to investigate, what I'm ready to create. What am I ready to be in this life? What's going to elate me? What's going to give me full expression of who I am? All right? So there we go. So we go up and down. So if something's happening on the physical, then I know what to do on the mental. Now I'll say, well, mentally, okay, new decisions. What new decisions? Okay? I don't know what to reconnect with yet here in the spiritual with myself. I need some more instructions. I need more structured ions. Right? Some of us get it, some of us don't quick. It doesn't matter. You have your own pace, progress, and pattern. So you okay, new direction or new decision. Well, I need a new direction. I needed to direct the ions the way I want them directed. Right? Well, how do I know what direction to direct them? Well, which ones are you deflecting? Right? When people pay you a compliment, are you deflecting it? When you're open to receiving, because receiving is rare. If I'm not open to receiving, I need to make new decisions. Well, how can I make new decisions? I need a new direction. How do I get a new direction? I need to deflect or pay attention to what I'm deflecting instead of opening up to. And the biggest thing here is, how am I going to know what direction and acknowledge what it is I'm deflecting about myself? I go right over individuation. I need to individuate my ions from everyone else's so I'm not so confused. Ions, confusion. I get everyone else's energy out of me. So I need to initiate that process. You getting the idea of this, guys? Right? I think you're getting an idea of it. So I can easily go through this grid and I can say, all right, I need to make a decision in the physical life. Right? I need to resurrect an old idea that maybe I was thinking about, but I haven't done. Right? Because I'm not being myself. Follow my cursor here, if you will, my individual self. Right? That means I need to make a new direction in my life. Right? I need to make new decisions. If I need to, I'll go in and reflect what about myself I need to make decisions about. Right? I'll take that time, that duration. Right? I won't deplete myself. I'll feed myself. I'm feeding myself ionic energy. Right? And so I need to reincarnate or reiterate myself. Right? Charles 2.0, 3.0, whatever version you are on yourself, right? It needs to be a reboot. That's what's happening globally. That's what's happening universally. There's a global reboot happening. You can look at the news and agree or disagree the way they're going to reboot. It doesn't matter. You're going through your reboot, right? Put on new shoes, walk your own path. And so here's where I do something that's balanced with me, that puts me in the position to do my own thinking. That making sense? And when I do that, I get the action, the completion, the revelations. I get the work a job, if you will, but it's not a job if you love it. It's an occupation. This is how I'm going to occupy myself, by serving my community. I had 4 or 5 different businesses that were all serving community. No one was doing what I was back in the day. I opened up therapeutic massage and other alternatives classes and stuff, and I had multiple locations. Right, and it fed over 1 million people, right? In our area that we're in, it helped, and people didn't have this knowledge 14, 15 years ago. But now, to give you my own story, I'm closing all that down, right? I've done it long enough. I served plenty in that capacity. Now I'm ready to do something more, something bigger. So I may have served humanity and my communities in the physical realm and even in the mental, but now I'm going to focus on the electrical realm. Why, therefore, it used to be soul mechanics down here in this realm, in the mechanical chemical realm. Now I'm going to serve in a whole new way in the electrical realms. That makes sense to you guys? So hopefully this is giving you some direction. So whatever it is you need will always be told in this chart. And again, this is just a superficial teaching right now, but it can go in depth. You can start plugging your own words in there, right, by having a conversation. Eventually I'll be set up to where you can send me emails or texts or whatever I can get to the fastest. Or I'll hire someone to go over those and then bring the ones to me, and then we can reframe it. And that's what this is. This is a framework, a universal framework. And all we're going to do is plug those that are out of order or disorder and put them in order. That making sense? All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up. I think that's enough for your brain for one day. So if you will, please like and share this. Hit the like button. The algorithms really love that, guys. The artificial intelligence love when you tickle their electronic belly buttons. So like, share, and subscribe, guys. Trying to get up to 1,000. That's my goal right now because I just started this channel basically. I want 1,000 of them, and we want to go to 10,000, 100,000, and 1,000,000. All right, and with your help, I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you hanging out with me. I love each and every one of you guys. All right, see you next time.